No Australian driver has gotten a podium at the Aussie GP since it became part of the F1 Championship in 1985, but two have stood on it. The drivers were asked about it in 2024.
10 years ago, actually, it happened. I stood on it. Actually, Mark stood on it. Mark stood on it as well, didn't he?
Daniel Ricciardo finished second at the 2014 Australian Grand Prix in his first race for Red Bull after being moved up from Toro Rosso to race alongside Sebastian Vettel. He got to celebrate on the podium, but unfortunately he was disqualified for breaching the FIA's fuel consumption regulations, aka his fuel flow rate was too high. Mark Webber's story is a fun one because now he's known as Oscar Piastri's manager, but in 2002 at the Australian Grand Prix, he was making his debut for Minardi, and Minardi, the year previous, had been facing financial ruin until it was bought by Australian businessman Paul Stoddart, and he was trying to make the team competitive again. And this race was mayhem, chaos personified, absolute pandemonium. At turn 1, Ralf Schumacher takes out 7 or 8 cars, and after that, Mark Webber is running in P5, which is a big deal for a team like Minardi, especially when only the top 6 score points at this time in Formula 1. And he is defending for his life against Mika Salo, and he notices that there is some radiator coolant on the track by turn 3. So as he is defending, he kind of forces Mika Salo to go around the outside of him, and Mika Salo goes over the coolant and spins, and therefore Mark Webber crosses the line in P5. He scores 2 points for Minardi at his home race on debut, and Paul Stoddart has called these the most important 2 points in F1 history. Now, they have the regular podium with Schumacher, Montoya, and I think Raikkonen, but after that, Ron Walker, the chairman of the Australian Grand Prix Corporation, says to Paul and Mark that they should come up on the podium, and Paul is like, have you cleared this with Max Mosley, the then FIA president, and Bernie Ecclestone? Those two go up on the podium, and obviously there's no trophies, but they have the Australian flag. They have a kangaroo plushie. They're playing I'll Always Call Australia Home. It's a very wholesome affair. And Paul Stoddart tells his catering staff to go ask other teams for champagne, because teams like Minardi don't bring champagne because they don't think they're going to be celebrating anything, right? It's very much like Stick Sauber and the Hulkenberg podium in Silverstone last year. But before his catering staff can even go out to get and ask for the champagne, other teams are bringing it to them because F1 is family. F1 is wholesome in these kind of situations. And they do all the celebrations, the wonderful time, but afterwards it becomes clear that nobody cleared it with F1 or the FIA or anybody for those two to go up on the podium, because Minardi gets hit with a €50,000 fine, which maybe after everything is worth it. So the question is, will we finally get an Australian on the podium this year?